Aha, why is it still... For some weird reason, it's telling that you're here in the top corner. But there we go, it's gone now. Push yourself. But, as always, hello, fellow Cravers, and welcome to the CTG Podcast for August the 5th. It is episode 167. As always, you have me, GD, and this month, I am joined by Tattastic, and we have Billy back. Hey, and Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's.
He's doing a bit of tidying up, as you can see from the Hoover.
Just the Hoover. No, that's when he comes and attacks you. Yeah. Oh God. Actually, you guys, we don't really talk about Five Nights that much on here. But have you guys been looking at some of the stuff on YouTube, especially Game Theory? Starting to try. Yeah. I mean, basically, what Game Theory have been doing, what they mainly got famous for, was piecing together the Five Nights at Freddy lore. And I think that they're starting to wind down on the whole Five Nights at Freddy stuff. That game's gone completely bonkers. The latest one, I think it's custom... Basically, it's like a custom night where you can pick what monsters come and attack you. And what level of intensity they can attack you.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, I don't know why they would pick that.
I was like, well, I've played it, I've gave it a try, so I'm not off now.
Yeah, I've always, like, me and Doc were talking about it last night, because it's August, if people don't know, in October we do something horror. We was talking a little bit about what plans we might want to do, and one that someone mentioned that I'm considering, but I'm not 100% sure yet because I know he played it and I know what the game is like. And I have but it reminded us of Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's kind of how the fact that horror games themselves, they either go into two categories nowadays. They're either like a sort of tense, like Amnesia does, where it's more just in your head type of things. You're waiting for the anticipation of something coming. Or you've got what a lot of indie games do, like Slender Man and Five Nights do. It's the jump scares.
I'm more psychological horror fan, that's why I like the Silent Hills, and where it's not really scary but quite unnerving, and the story.
Yeah. But it's like we're talking about that, and the thing is how horror games have really basically generated just around those two things nowadays, and it kind of, and another thing which I find weird. So, like I said, we do Nights of Horror in October because of Halloween. It usually ends on the 31st of October. Not many horror games actually come out during that month, I've noticed.
Yeah, no, I can't think of any top of the head that's actually out this year. Like, it's been quite a quiet year for horror, really.
I know that we've got a big one coming out next year. We've got Resident Evil 2 remake coming.
Yeah, I was just about to say about that. I think that's the sort of like hit and miss for everyone. So I think because it's the same scenario as the Final Fantasy 7 remake. You're gonna get the people that are just happy that it's getting remade, but then you're gonna get the people that are like it's not gonna be the same.
The thing is, the stuff that they've shown of us already of it, you can easily tell it's not going to be the same. Like how you are at the start of the police station, you're not going into a dark room by crawling underneath something. And of course, what's his name? The police officer at the start. He's alive.
Oh God.
Yeah. But he's alive. He's not dead. That's not spoilers because I think it's the first thing that we noticed. That's the thing. I just wanted to talk about a little bit of that little bit, and I think it's mainly because of the Foxy thing down there that we kind of went on to that subject.
Sort of a bad thing to do, say the Foxy thing down there and point towards your crotch. The worst thing you could have done.
Yeah, actually thinking of that was stupid. I meant the Foxy Chibi head thing. That that doesn't help either. The fourth box. Yeah, that's. Everyone knows what I'm on about. But yeah, I think that basically got me thinking about it. And like I said, Nights of Horror. If people don't know, we haven't got a set date when it's going to be starting, but of course it'll be ending on October. Make some announcements. What we're doing. But anyway, as always, with the start of the podcast, we talk about the games that we have played over the past month. And I'm going to let one of you two pick who wants to start us off.
Billy can go on.
Billy can go.
I've just finished WarioWare Gold, 3DS game. I just thought, why not pick it up? It's quick little mini games, micro games that are just sort of like, okay, what was that about? Every 5 seconds, because it's just so bloody random. And I'm also playing Assassin's Creed Origins because I managed to get that on the PlayStation deal the other day. So, and I've not had a chance to play that one yet. So,
well, let's talk about WarioWare Gold. So that's just come out this past week, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Now I do enjoy the WarioWare series with the fact that it's if people don't know what it is basically it's a bunch of mini games about at most 5 seconds long per game.
Yeah, it's just reacting fast, just doing the instruction what it says. So it could just be like, spinning record, and you just gotta press A to stop it at the right point. And little examples. It can also grab loads of retro Nintendo games. It just tell you to do a little instruction within that game quickly before time runs out.
So, like I said, I've played the other WarioWare games. I'm guessing you've played the other ones as well.
My last favourite one was the one on the Wii because I think you just actually, took the motion controls and it was quite fun to play with friends and that, like, you just acting completely silly with it.
So, what about this one? What do you think of Gold itself?
It's pretty nice with because you got full English voice acting as well on there, and it's really quite funny with the cutscenes and stuff like that. It's just a little charming. It's got a lot of callbacks and the other mini games that they got on there. It's not very long, like story wise and stuff like that. So it's not a lot to keep you on there for a bit. But yeah, it was good for a chuckle, like.
The thing is, I've been watching other people playing it at the moment, and I think the whole point of it is that Wario is making some kind of tournament or something like that.
Yeah, it's just trying to get money again.
Of course, it's Wario. But the whole thing is it's split into 3 different categories of tournaments, isn't it? So you've got the one where you're using the buttons, one that you're using the movement controls, I think it is, and one that you're using the touchscreen.
Yeah, and then once you're at an end categories, they mix them all together and even include other stuff like blowing into the mic as well and stuff like that.
It's a 3DS. It's a DS game. You've got to at least include one time you've got to blow in the mic and look like a fool if you're playing it in public.
And at the time when I first got WarioWare, I was like dealing with like a nasty cough as well. So when I went to, I got blown to the mother.
It worked.
And it's like, I did it, sweet. I mean, I nearly died, but great.
But like I said, this has come out on the 3DS. Now, no offense to the 3DS at the moment, I think it is coming the end of its lifetime because of the Switch.
I feel like that game would have worked better on the Switch. Like it's one of those, like I'm playing it, but I'm feeling like I would have enjoyed this a whole lot more if I was playing it on the Switch.
Yeah.
It would have more going for it, with the controls and stuff like that.
But then again, is it that they were testing it on the 3DS and they are thinking of putting out a WarioWare game over to the later down the line?
No, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, I don't think it takes a lot to make a WarioWare game, really. Like,
I think at most it's like the Professor Layton game, a lot where they've got to gather the mini games up together and think, right, we can take these ones here, but we've also got to add this stuff here as well. We've got to make it interesting, bring new stuff into it.
Yeah.
I think another good example, of which a game is coming out over to the Switch soon. Mario Party. which I'm looking forward to. That it's Super Mario
It'd be
Party.
first Mario Party that's got online capabilities as well.
Oh, did not know that it has online capabilities.
Yep, you can play it online, which is like finally, that's like it's like another thing where like when Mario Party come out in the Wii U and it wasn't even online, it was like, oh, for God's sake, like, these are the things why you're slipping,
But then again, I think
slowly learn lessons.
Yeah. Well, that's Nintendo's way, isn't it? The thing is, we're learning our lessons, but especially when everyone else is already, God knows how far ahead of everyone. Like,
Yeah,
oh, VR, we should
drag
bring
them,
that.
They get there.
Yeah, but it's like what was your other game? Yeah, you picked up Assassin's Creed Origins as well. We've spoken about Origins on the podcast before, but one game we didn't really talk about last month that much, which would have really done with Odyssey, is been announced to be coming out this year. Now, a lot of people, when we were first hearing about an Assassin's Creed coming out, rumours of it coming out again this year, I think a lot of people who were back of their mind were thinking, really, did Ubisoft not learn from their lesson from the previous ones? What do you think about Odyssey coming out, both of you, first of all? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm actually looking forward to this game coming out.
I mean,
now.
I like the time era. I like, like the Spartan sort of era. I think that, that'll give you some interesting combat and, interesting location and stuff like that. I always preferred the Assassin's Creed that are quite far back in the past. Like, the more it was going to the future, the more I was getting less interested with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Because you just got you get so many guards with guns and stuff like that. It gets to the point where it's like, we're going toward, are we going to eventually just go to World War II and just have a Call of Duty game? Like,
well, that was one of the rumors, wasn't it? That Assassin's Creed was
I'm
planning
so
to go
glad
down that route.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't go with that.
Yeah. What about you, Tat? The thing is, did you play Origins?
Yeah, I played a bit of it, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole idea of Odyssey coming out this year? First of all, you looking forward to it?
No, I'd like to think they'd learned a lesson from before. I think they're going to rush out. It's just going to be a reskinned version of Odyssey, like it's always been until they took the 2-year break. Well, they just took the year break, brought it out. Origins out. I think it's just going to reskin it again.
Yeah.
Which I think is a worry.
Which, yeah, I agree. I think like I said, a lot of the upset was the fact that people. I think when Ubisoft took the break after, to be honest, it was Unity that caused the damage, not Syndicate. I think Syndicate was the one that ended up being affected. It was part of the aftermath of it.
I think the sex of Syndicate probably made Ubisoft think. So I think that's where a lot of gamers probably dropped the Assassin's Creed series. Enough is enough after Unity.
Ryan says they need to pack Assassin's Creed in. Now, I don't think they need to pack it in. I think doing it as a yearly thing, I think, like we've mentioned this with a lot of games, I think yearly games which are not simulators or sports simulators or just normal simulators, I don't see any point of them coming out, because you feel like, well, it feels like you've known, when we're looking at the picture of what game is coming out, you basically think that your game's only got a life span of a year at most, which is upsetting, especially when it's a story-driven game like Assassin's Creed is as well. I think Origin didn't have any single player whatsoever. It had no online compartment to it. This is me looking when Ubisoft is saying, no, Origins, yeah, it's alright, but it's only got about a year. Yeah, play our next shiny game, which is coming out. Which is, like I said, I don't think it needs to be killed. Or, Ryan says, or do an 80s one. I want to kill someone with a Rubik's Cube.
I think the thing that sort of hurt them and made them probably jump by making another Assassin's Creed is, I think the original plan was like an Assassin's Creed, then a Watch Dogs, then an Assassin's Creed, then but then Watch Dogs 2 was a failure, so the sort of...
Well, that's the thing. I thought Watch Dogs 2 was a lot better than the original Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that it's the same thing again. The damage of the first game caused damage to the second game. It is, as much as we say, it's a rare occurrence that a second game actually brings a game to life. I think the only time I've really seen it is a lot older games, like Street Fighter is a good example of it being brought to life. The first game was absolute garbage. The second game is what made it a phenomenon.
Yeah.
But Watch Dogs, yeah, it didn't work, and I think a lot of people looked at it as well, where they thought this is just modern day Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. The best thing they could have done was not make a new Assassin's Creed and had those nice little free green lights show up. That's what the best thing they could have done.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I know that Ryan wasn't happy about this, and then again, we might be coming next month and saying, "Oh, guess what they announced at Gamescom." But yeah, like we said, I think one of the things that upset so many people is that we didn't get a Splinter Cell. I think, especially after the actual tease of it in Wildlands, it was a kind of upsetting thing. And with me as well, I've kind of been wanting it since we've been playing. Me and Ryan ended up playing Conviction, which you can find on youtube.com/CraveYourGames.
I love it. I remember that game. That was so good.
But yeah, I would love to see something like that, especially with it being Ubisoft as well. They've got such a brilliant library behind them. I think probably it's one of the big 5 IP libraries in gaming as a whole. And they look at it, and there's so many games at the back of there thinking, why are you not making one of these? You know people want this. Why are you sticking with a game where we've been telling you need to give it a bit of a break? But especially when it was, I think what upsets me more, especially on the podcast with Ubisoft itself, so many times it feels like we give it such praise at certain points, and then it comes around and it just disappoints us. It's not we don't hate you, Ubisoft. Just disappoint us at times.
We don't hate Ubisoft, we just hate Konami.
Everybody hates Konami. Let's open that can of worms. When are they making a Silent Hill game? No. You got Death Stranding.
With the baby gun.
Yeah, the baby gun. And
it just goes to show what I took from that trailer, because I literally, like, as soon as you was explaining what that thing was, I was like, yeah, I got that whole trailer wrong. Like, I thought he was using the baby as a gun, so, you know.
I've lost the camera of Tat and Foxy.
No. Have you?
Yeah. Yeah, right, you know what? We're sticking this. I know he's not Tattastic. I know he's not Billy. I'm happy in my box.
You're happy in your box.
Yeah, so we decided to move things around on the podcast a little bit, which is awesome.
Also changed names.
Changed names. So, Tat, you are now Billy. Billy, you are now Tattastic. And Foxy, you. But yeah, what was we talking about? We was Splinter Cell. That's what we was talking about, weren't we? No, Ubisoft in general.
And then we went to Konami, and then coincidentally, it all went wrong.
We mentioned this K word. They're listening.
Konami screws another thing up.
Konami.
And now our podcast is a pachinko machine. Are you happy?
Be happy if we're incoming people playing this. Yeah, like I said, Ubisoft, the good things and bad things, and like I said, with such a library behind them, hopefully we'll go and look at games that they've got, which they haven't used for a while. They'll bring some, but at the moment, the thing is, that's a lot of companies often. Even one with, I would say, the best IP library in gaming in general does it quite a lot. Nintendo. The thing is, how long you guys at the moment? You guys have got a Metroid game coming out. But at the moment, the big talking point is people want Animal Crossing to come out on the Switch as well.
Yeah. There's always going to be a series that gets, the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
I think the worst than Animal Crossing is F-Zero. I know fans of that have been waiting for a game since the GameCube days, so...
Yeah, well, okay, we're about F-Zero and Animal Crossing. I want a new Luigi's Mansion. Where's my Luigi's Mansion?
Is he getting a remake on the... Is he on the...
Don't say 3DS! That is an insult!
I don't know if it's on the Switch or the 3DS, but I know that Luigi's Mansion 1's coming back. One of them.
I love it. Yeah, we're making a Luigi game. It's coming out on the 3DS. Yeah, the system that is easily being eaten up by the Switch to a point that you're bringing your big game on the 3DS over to Switch, known as Pokemon, which I'm happy with, but still. And I'm not talking about your Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, which I know I'll buy.
The fact that Venusaur hops around like a frog has pleased me ever so much.
Right, that's why I've gone with a Pokemon t-shirt today. I insert coin, by the way. Yeah, like I said, I'm getting Eevee. Saying that now.
I'm getting Eevee version.
Guys versus Mercs back. Yeah, that's a good on Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Like I said, Ubisoft surprises at Gamescom at the end of this month by telling us that there is a Splinter Cell game coming out, and so many people are happy. I know like Nintendo didn't really talk much about Metroid Prime, but they did say when it comes to their directs, it's usually what's coming up in that year and early next year, isn't it? We just know that it's still in the works. It's them not talking about the Pokemon RPG that they're doing as well. The thing is, it's in the works. It's just that it's not the right time to talk about it. But yeah. Tat, what about you, mate? What have you been playing this past month? What will you surprise me with?
different realities.
If you say VR chat again, mate, I swear to God.
I've deleted that off. I can't be bothered anymore. It's too strange.
Yeah.
I keep getting like weird people telling me to look up the skirts and stuff.
And
then they have like, and then when you actually look up the skirt, they've got like a Ugandan Knuckles head up there. It's like this is where I stopped playing it. I was like, I can't put up with this shit.
Right, so let's get away from that. What have you actually? What games can you interest us with VR for what has really caught your attention?
Well, Pixel Ripped is like one of the best ones I've played.
So what is Pixel Ripped for people?
It's where you're basically a mix between a handheld game and in a school. So it's called the Game Kid. So you start in the world of the game. Sorry, the dog just trying to knock me drink off. Get over there. You start in the world of the game, and then it gets attacked, and then you get transported into 1989 in London in a classroom, and you've got the kid, and you're playing the game on the handheld. But you've got to like distract your teacher to help them save their world by playing the game on the handheld. And then
okay, I think I figured out. So the handheld is another world you're trying to save, but you've got to try and stop the teacher, who will probably take the handheld off you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you've got like a spitball, like you've got a pen, and you have to like fire spitballs at things in the room to distract the teacher, so you can get it out and continue playing it.
I'm gonna be honest. When I'm thinking VR, that's not what I would have thought, but it does sound really interesting.
But like the other element of it is like when you get to the first boss fight, the character comes out of the handheld and they build a platforming world around the classroom, and you've got to control the character around the classroom, like complete the world in front of you in the classroom.
So what systems is this on, by the way?
All of them, PlayStation and all the PC ones.
Right. And what other games can you recommend as well, mate, this month?
We started playing Hellblade, but I haven't played much of it yet because I got the VR patch on the 31st.
Yeah, I think I saw a trailer of it when they were talking about the VR thing, which I'm going to be honest, the thing is I've played through Hellblade a few times now. I really do love that game as much. Not as much as another member, Kev, he really loves that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that is like in VR as well. I think with those kind of games where you are controlling a character in a world like that, it does seem to work quite well anyway.
Yeah.
And I think, like I mentioned with this, especially with VR gaming, I think a lot of the time, which would make it actually bloom, especially in the gaming side of things, is having it as an added addition to games that already exist as well,
Yeah.
and also bring out games that would only work with VR as well. And like you said, this is another good example, by the sounds of things, of a game that is basically improving, is being improved with the VR headsets.
Yeah, so you're still playing in third person, but obviously you can just look around the world like 360-degree view. It's like you don't have to control the character to turn around. You can physically turn around and see what's going on behind you and stuff.
Yeah.
See the whole world around you. But
yeah, the thing is, like I said, I do love to see what games do come out for VR. Thing is, I think if I could afford it and I had the space as well, I would be picking up myself at least one of the VR headsets as well. Especially, it's just the experience, and I think more of us, especially with CTG, have ended up picking one up, or have been having a go of it at least.
yeah,
I think good example, at least this past month or two. Hanksy has got PSVR as well. I know you've been recommending a few games to him what to play. And I know that Ryan has been playing quite a bit of VR stuff as well.
Beat Saber.
Yeah. I think that is one of the games I want to play. I really do want to play the games. I do love rhythm games quite a lot. And that is definitely one of those games I do want to play if I was given the opportunity to. And I'm hoping it's at EGX. If it's there, oh, no, thinking of the Cuba VR. I know what it's like with booking appointments and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
We might as well ask you now. So August is coming up. I know we do recommend go to tattasticgamer.com and go to youtube.com/tattasticgamervr to come and see the reviews and videos, gameplay videos that he does with VR. Especially if you're really interested in VR, he's definitely a great place to go to. One thing that you do, we do this usually either on the same day or a couple of days apart. We do our top 5s of the month. Now, I don't want you to explain the 5 games that you've put in that list, but for next month, what game would you highly recommend people look out for in VR?
It's not really a game. I'm playing it. There's a giveaway on my website for it at the moment as well. Till close at midnight today. It's an application.
Which, by the way, if you're watching this on Monday, it's too late.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an application where they've worked with musicians like Tiesto and Chainsmokers and things like this, and made tracks, and you can basically remix them in VR they've made a system called Music Reality, where it splits every element of the songs into separate things, so you can turn them on and off. You can bring in like synth orbs, which you can hit, and it will remix the notes and things like this. And you basically just get to remix all your songs. Like 40 songs on there so far, and they're planning on bringing more quite often through like free patches as well.
So what game was this? Not what game. What was this program?
It's Electronauts.
Electronauts.
Yeah.
And that is on via. I'm guessing all through. Is it on just the 2 or is it on the 3?
It's on all of them. The only thing, only the PC version. They've got a multiplayer mode where you can remix songs with someone else, but that's only on PC.
Also, there's something else I wanted to ask. I know that you talked about because we didn't have you last month. We had Doc, and you have been having a go of. It's sort of a program that brings non-VR games into VR.
Yeah, Vorpex. Yeah.
So I have no idea what this is. So how does it actually work? First of all,
it's just a program you open before you launch the game, and then if you like click any game that's non-VR through your Steam library, just click play, and Vorpex will pick like you're trying to start that game up and say, right, we want to make this in our program, and it puts it straight into the program. Now you've got a few settings you have to mess about with to set there's like field of view right, depending on what you're playing.
So wait, is this when this is actually putting you into the game? It's not like where I've seen other things, like especially with movies and stuff like that, where you're in like on a sofa playing the game. I know there's a couple of games that have done, a couple of programs that have done that in the past.
Yeah.
So this is actually putting you into the game itself.
Yeah, I've played a bit of Elder Scrolls Online in it. I've played probably the first few levels of BioShock in it.
Ooh.
The first BioShock. And it works really well. It's so smooth, and like the transition to get it. Yeah, you've got to mess with settings a few times until you get them right. But once you've got them right, it's automatically saved those settings for that game. So next time you boot it up, they're already set as everything that you've had set up previously.
Well, like I said, the thing is, like I said, when it comes to VR, the thing is, I always do recommend to go and talk to you about it. I'm and the call now on here. There we go. Sorry, I had the call still on my phone. I don't know why. But like I said, if you are looking into doing VR, like I said, we'd always do recommend go to youtube.com/TattasticGamer or go to tattasticgamer.com for reviews, especially when it comes to VR. And I'm guessing you've done a comparison between the 3 headsets. Well,
Not yet. No, not yet. I'm going to eventually, but I've got that many reviews and stuff due. It's crazy. I've also got this, which I've been playing a lot this month. The Oculus Go.
Oh god, yeah, that is basically Gear VR, but
yeah, but you don't need your phone.
Don't need your phone.
It's all built into the thing. It's like a standalone. It's got the Gear VR library, but it does work really well. It's a bit limited by the one controller and things like this, but you can sync your Xbox controller to it and use a gamepad with it and all sorts.
But yeah, so like I said, if you are interested in going down the VR route, we do recommend go to those places. Of course, the links will be in the description below for you guys to go and have a look if you're watching this on the VOD on YouTube. Yeah, like I said, VR games, best person I would say to go and find more information about. Oh god, it's me now, isn't it? I'm going to be honest. The weather has really put me off gaming this past month. Which, if people know, I am in a room which is basically designed to be more like a hotbox than anything. But I have been playing a couple of games. So I ended up playing a game called The Mooseman, which is available on PC. Which I think it is available now on PS4 and Xbox One. I ended up playing it on the Xbox One. And what it is that it's a 2D walking... Not walking simulator. It's a 2D adventure where you are basically taking the role of one of these 7 moose men children. And you basically go in and... I don't know what is the hell, be honest, is happening, but it's an interesting story, and especially for the price of it. I was looking at it and thinking, I've played games like North and the crazy, more abstract games.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those games, but it is such beautifully designed. The thing is, when it comes to game, I do love how a game looks. Well, especially when it comes to abstract type of games. And this is definitely one of those games where it's such a beauty to just look at. Like I said, I have no idea what the hell is going on though. But I enjoyed myself when I was playing it. So I do say if you've got a spare couple of bit of money, then probably pick it up. Played a game called Slime San. On... Did I play that on? I think I played that on... I played that on PlayStation or Switch? One of them?
I remember it being a Switch game because I remember having that downloaded as well. When you play as a slime that gets eaten by a worm in it.
It's basically, like Super Meat Boy, but you're a slime. that is the best description ever. But yeah, I ended up playing that, and yeah, like I said, again, I enjoyed it. The thing is, I've not played Super Meat Boy that much. It was definitely something that was it was available there, and like I said, I was doing it for one shot mainly. But I have been playing it a little bit time and again. I think I've got it. Like I said, I don't remember what system I've got it on off the top of my head. But I know it's on Switch, it's on PlayStation, and it's on Xbox, and of course it's on Steam as well. But the main game I have been playing this, at least this past week or two, I've been going back into No Man's Sky again. And I remember when it first came out, me and Tattastic ended up playing it, and look, we can be honest here. When the game first did come out, it was a little bit of a lackluster game, wasn't it?
I think the first 2 hours were alright, and then it was like, oh,
We're
just doing
doing
this
the
again.
same thing,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And not to mention all the lies that come before the game's released made a lot of people furious.
I think, like I said, when we were first talking about it, because we did, I'm going to be honest, I did try and defend it when it was first released.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I remember talking about was that Sean Murray, who of course is basically part of Hello Games, who basically created No Man's Sky. He is a good example where indie developers should not be put on the spot when talking to the press about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they have got such passion behind the game that they're playing, which makes sense. The thing is, the game is their make or break in the industry. And I think it was kind of upsetting when it did come out, and there was so many things that was promised that didn't show up. And the thing is, I feel like most of the blame should have been put onto Sony for this, because I feel like they did try and rush this game to come out. But at the same time, I'm happy that Hello Games ended up kept working on it. I think it's been 2 years since it's been out on the PlayStation, and now it's available on Xbox. It's been available on PC for quite a while as well, hasn't it?
I think it was same day on the PC as the PlayStation one.
Yeah. But like I said, a lot of game studios would have just given up on the game. And I feel like I'm happy that they didn't give up on this. So, like I said, the last time I played it was before the first big update came out for it. And I ended up playing it again because of the new next update. And it's basically a whole new game. And if you have got the game on PlayStation, I do recommend go and play it again. Because it feels like most of the promises that were there in the first place are now available. I think one of the favourite things at the moment that I'm playing with, and it's not the multiplayer. Surprisingly, it's not the multiplayer, which is the big talking point of this new next update. It's that there's so many stories that they're going down. So the original story was that you had to try and get to the centre of the universe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The one thing that I am doing at the moment is like a sort of a separate story where I'm discovering, because we're known as travellers game, discovering what the hell a traveller actually is. And it's making me go completely different direction from doing the centre of the universe thing that is there.
Yeah.
And it's nice because it feels like there's more, you're doing a lot more with this game. And it's dragging me to different places, thinking, right, I'm going to put it down. Wait, actually, I want to go and do this. There's something over here I want to look at as well. And the only thing I can say that is a bit of a downside to it, and the game has still got it, but I would say it's something that you expect with this kind of game. Every task that you have to do is still such a grind as well.
Yeah.
But then I feel like it's one of those kind of games where you should not think of it as, right, what to do this, what to do this, what to do this. You got to look at it and think, right, I'm playing this to relax. It's my game that I can zone out from everything that's happening around me. This is, let me go and play what the hell is going on here. So, like I said, I do recommend, especially now it's out on the Xbox as well, I do recommend at least go and have a go of No Man's Sky if you can, now especially with the next update that's out. I haven't tried the multiplayer yet, but so far what people have been saying is it is still a little bit glitchy. But then I think it's something that you expect, where it's one of the newest things that they've actually added into the game as well. And like I said, if you've not played it since the beginning, they've added bases now. They've added vehicles that you can go across the what's it called, terrain, the planet terrains now as well. And talking about the planets, they have got such a different atmosphere on each planet nowadays. It's like one planet can be such a snowy biome. The next one you could go over to is basically what they class as a charred planet. It is basically just devastation around it, but it's still definitely a game to be picking, whether you're picking up. Myself. What about you guys? I'd like to, have you had a go of the next update yet?
No, not yet.
Are you thinking of having a go of it?
At some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've still got my PlayStation copy of it, so.
Oh, lucky for me, I had digital anyway, so it was me just reinstalling it again.
I was at hype for it. I bought the collector's edition with like the comic and all sorts in it.
A little figurine. What about you, Billy? You've got PlayStation. Did you ever pick it up?
No, I never played No Man's Sky. Like I think even before its release, I think I kind of saw that that launch has a collision course bound to happen where people's expectations for that game were ridiculously high. And I knew it was going to deflate quite badly, because I thought, well, it's like it is like promising a lot of stuff, but where I'm actually seeing the gameplay, you don't actually, it doesn't look like there's a lot to do in it. But I never really heard anything from No Man's Sky after its backlash from its release. I didn't even really know it was being updated or anything until now.
Yeah, like I said, they ended up they kept on working on it, and like I said, that's the one thing I give Fellow Games a huge commendation for, is the fact that
I mean, I wish
any other studio would have given up.
Yeah.
Right away. They would have said, "Oh no, this has failed miserably.
I mean,
let's get out of here as quickly as possible."
I mean, look how many times Sega's done that with Sonic. It's like, oh, let's this fucking game and make another one.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But yeah. So that's the only thing, and it makes me think. I'm interested to see what Hello Games does next as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, because they have learnt so much of what has happened with No Man's Sky, and be honest, I think this was one of their debut games as well.
It's an ambitious title.
Bring up another Joe Danger.
They did Joe Danger.
Is that what it was called? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. The thing is, it was such a game which really did put them on the map with the hype. It is such a massive game that they ended up having to work on in the end. And especially, like I said, they had Sony behind them for this. This was supposed to be the game that really shone for the PlayStation 4 as well.
Yeah.
All I can say is that, look, I'd be interested to see what you guys do. Hopefully you've learned so much from the lessons from this. When they do decide to stop working on updates for this game. The thing is, at the moment, I don't see them doing that at the moment, especially now they've got Xbox over on there as well. Yeah. Talk about another game that I've been playing as well. I was hoping that Doc was here because he'll probably have talked about this. Sea of Thieves. So the Cursed Sails update expansion came out on Wednesday. And so if people don't know what this one is, it's basically they've introduced, first of all, a new boat type into the game, known as a brigadier, which is a free person max boat, which I'm going to be honest is one of the best looking boats and one of the best designed boats on that game so far. Also, they have included skeleton ships into the game as well, which also they have cursed cannonballs, which are such a pain in the ass when you're fighting them. So far we've done the main story of the Cursed Sails, to learn the lore of what was going on, and we've had one of the war fights at the moment. So this event, like the Hunger and Deep beforehand, the Hunger and Deep only lasted for 2 weeks. Until then, after that, they included the Meg into the actual game, where she'll pop up whenever she decides to. And of course, they included the bits and pieces that they had further down the line into that game as well, into that mode as well. But it's the only time that you'll probably be able to get the commendations that are connected to that event. This one is going to be lasting for, I think they said 3 weeks, but the difference is, for each of the 3 weeks, there is 3 different types of war battle that can happen. You've got, for example, this week you've got the Dancing Devil, which each one describes what kind of cursed cannonballs they've got. The Dancing Devil, basically, if you get hit by the area effect of that, it causes you to dance uncontrollably. Forgot what the other 2 were, but either way, what it is that it's got a set amount of time in game day when these battles will take place at certain points on the map. Specific points, not random points that don't just show up out of nowhere. And an in-game day is 24 minutes, first of all. So once that week's done, then the next 3 wars start, and then the final 3 happen on the 3rd week. So that's what they've got planned for this as well. And then I think after that, then the ships will skeleton ships will show up randomly throughout the game, which is good. But like I said, I've been enjoying it so far. I think with Sea of Thieves, it's been interesting, especially when they've included these Bilge Rat events between the 2 expansions as well. They've had 3 events between the 2 of them. They had the first one where you had to find thrones, which was quite easy to do. One of the things good about that is that half of them you could do with the crew that you had, while the other half you had to join alliance with the crew, with another crew to complete those ones. Then that was a 2-week event. Then this next 2-week event was basically skeletons were holding gunpowder barrels. Those skeletons still spawn nowadays, even though the commendation's finished. And then the other one was that they included mermaid statues, which you had to destroy. You had to destroy a certain amount of each type. So there was a ruby, emerald, and sapphire type of statues they had to destroy. And of course, with these, they were under the water, well, being mermaid statues. But it's nice that Rare have updated this so much. And like I said, this new update that they brought out, they also brought out alliances into it as well. Which, the alliance that we had about 5 or 6 other ships with us trying to destroy these skeleton warships as well. Which, yeah. And of course, I'm looking forward to what they bring out later down the line. I think the next one is Forbidden Shores, which is supposed to be coming out in September. And I know that there's another big expansion coming out before the end of this year after that as well. But I'm happy that Sea of Thieves is doing quite well with that as well. And the numbers with that game don't really lie. The game has been quite successful, but I think it's because of the Game Pass stuff with that one. Yeah, that's I'm done talking about Sea of Thieves now. Sorry about that. I thought I'd just let that, go by. So that's what I basically have been playing this past month. Like I said, not a lot of gaming, but that's mainly because, unfortunately, I think a lot of people have been in the same boats. The other thing that I've been playing is the GTA After Hours update, where we have nightclubs.
Is that the one with Gay Tonian?
That's the one with Hey, no, it's now just Tony because Gay Tony is not PC anymore.
Okay.
There's an actual line in the actual game now.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so the whole idea is that you're running a nightclub. I've been enjoying it. I know Ryan's been playing it as well. And I think one of the good things about this is, so you've got, if people don't know, you've got biker clubs, you've got bunkers, and you've got like CEO officers. Been added along the line of this game, which is now 5 years old.
I think we
The
got
top
we got
10.
I think we got Grand Theft Auto to thank for like games like Sea of Thieves to give regular updates, because I think they're the proof that just giving free updates to your game and just working on it after it's been released, gives the game so much more life, and people are more willing to buy, the in-game credit, and because they can get involved.
I would say I've ended up buying in-game credit. With GTA, I've not bought that much in-game credit. I think this past month I've ended up buying the most, just because I wanted to get this nightclub stuff.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a free update, so you got the choice to sort of like work your way to get that on your own, but you also got the freedom to sort of like, I want to, deal with that now, but I ain't got the means, so I'll.
There's so many different ways that you can go and enjoy it, and you don't need to buy into it.
Like it's still
especially when you're still a quite expensive game.
Like, because like it's been like I first played Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Xbox 360, with you guys, and I didn't, after that I didn't really pick up Grand Theft Auto 5. Like I bought it for the PS4, but I didn't really play it only until recently, a couple months ago, and then I started really enjoying like the transform races and stuff like that I've been missing out this whole time. And I thought, bloody hell, these are really fun. Like even with random, so like I would like definitely wish like I could sort of like get involved with like we were used to do back when it was vanilla, how much and what we could do now.
Oh, please don't remind me about vanilla. Someone reminded me about the whole 2-week hell for me.
Oh, well, when it first
when it was stuck in the car park, yeah.
Yeah, because my girlfriend first started her online thing, and she went on the tutorial, and I was getting like sort of Vietnam flashbacks on this. I was like, no, not this again.
Yeah.
I can't handle this. It's just like I was waiting for, like when it's loading the race, and I was like, is it gonna do it? Because I remember last time when I saw this screen, I was on this all day.
Yeah. By the way, I've got the Yuki charts, which if people don't know what Yuki charts are, it's the official UK gaming charts. Grand Theft Auto for this Monday that's just gone is 7th on that chart.
Which is still very impressive. Like what?
Yeah. Last week before that it was on 18th, but it was still in the charts. That's the point. The thing is, like I said, this game is over 5 years old now. And like you said, it's a good example of how an online game should really be run. The constant updates work, and like I said, at the moment, Sea of Thieves is good, learn from this quite a lot. But at the moment, one thing that I feel is interesting is they don't have the microtransactions yet, so they're still running on the wave of the Games Pass side of things. But then again, at the same time, it's not. Rare's being paid by Microsoft because of it being under as one of its studios. So Microsoft will look at how well Sea of Thieves is doing. They're going to look how well Game Pass is doing.
Yeah. So like Grand Theft Auto was a good example of how microtransactions work well with it, because like although you might use it so you can get the nightclub quickly, and easily, but what doing a free update does is that it doesn't exclude your friends. Like if you buy, for instance, a Call of Duty map pack, all of your friends have got to buy that map pack for you to join in and do stuff.
Which, by the way, Call of Duty still are doing with this next Call of Duty that's coming out. I'm thinking, guys, learn from your lesson. That's not how a multiplayer should work nowadays. We want to play with our friends. We don't want to just keep buying everything to play. We will go and play something else.
It's just a game of keep up with Call of Duty. That's all it is. That's why they pump them out every year, just so your friends don't want to play the old version. They want to play the latest version with the latest map pack. And
I think Call of Duty is the only one that does it nowadays. Yeah, like I said, I think Call of Duty is the only game that does this at the moment. I think Battlefield 5, which is coming out, they've said that all maps are going to be free on there as well. And like I said, we're looking at Sea of Thieves. They do free content updates all the time. And of course, GTA, which we're talking about, they definitely do updates. The thing is, with the stuff that they bring out, like the after hours stuff, it's things that enhance it for everyone. Not everyone has to buy into it. As long as one person has bought into it, everyone around them can enjoy it.
And if you still want money coming out of your game, through microtransactions, you need to keep your audience on the game.
Exactly.
Like that's how it works. You can't have your cake and eat it by excluding people buy the DLC and then also expect them to sort of pay for microtransactions as well.
Yeah.
I think you're better off just doing free updates with microtransaction.
I'm just wondering where the hell's Tattastic gone.
He heard it after hours and he thought he was done.
Yeah, he'll come back. I think he'll come back in a minute. Well, I've got the charts up as well, mate. One thing that I'm actually excited about. So you remember last year? Over a year last year, there was one game that I could not stop talking about, and that is Crash Bandicoot is coming back with the Insane Trilogy.
Yes.
And it proved to me that when the game did come out on the PlayStation, it was a very big success. I think it was the biggest success on the PlayStation last year, wasn't it?
Brilliant remastered remake really. I never really I remember playing Crash Bandicoot as a kid, but it wasn't like I didn't have much nostalgia from Crash Bandicoot. So I didn't have that sort of thing, but I really enjoyed it. And I ended up platinum in Crash Bandicoot 2 because I thought Ralph and Vortex had the most fun levels really for me.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it ended up being in the top spot for about 7-8 weeks last year, and that was just on the PlayStation alone. I'm looking at the charts right now, and Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy now it's come out on the Switch and Xbox and on Steam as well. 5th consecutive week at number 1 for Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. That, in my opinion, that just shows if anyone is looking at this and they're thinking, right, what do people want? This is what we want. We want games that are over 20 years old, which have a great trilogy of games. And I know they're doing Spyro, which is coming out next month. But the old games, which were PlayStation, or the original Xbox, which had a great trilogy behind them, that is what games we want. That is what games we would buy.
I'll be happy with going forward is I would like for them to create a new Crash Bandicoot, but with that engine.
They've already said that they are going to be creating a new Crash Bandicoot with the engine. The thing is, they have already confirmed that they are working on that as well, which I'm happy about. The thing is, I think they were just judging it on how successful Insane Trilogy has been.
Sorry, I'm back.
Hey, no, it's alright, mate. We're just saying. Remember last year where I was on about Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy?
Yeah.
And it ended up being a huge success on the charts, didn't it? I think was it 7 or 8 weeks at number 1?
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the charts for GTA Online to see if it was still in the top 10. By the way, it is. It's 7th at the moment. 5 weeks at number 1. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy since it's been out on Xbox, Switch, and Steam.
PC.
Yeah, so pretty much the same time last year, Crash Bandicoot was number 1 again. So if people basically time traveled for a year and came back and said, "What's your number 1 game?" Crash Bandicoot, they'll be like, "What?" But like we said, I think it's a good example that the old games like that, if you do it in a trilogy and you do it as it's not a remaster, it's a remake. It was remade.
I mean, I'm not too sad about it because I've pre-ordered Spyro digitally because I think I wanted the wallpaper, the dynamic wallpaper from PlayStation. But what I've heard that's a bit disappointing is that the physical copy of Spyro the disc is only going to have Spyro 1 in it.
Yes,
And
yeah.
the second and third one is going to be digitally downloaded.
Actually, that might be a good talking point that we can for a bit now.
Which is a bit of I can imagine that being a bit of a pain for.
Well, the thing is, this is not the first game to actually do this. I think Switch has been doing this quite often with a lot of its bigger games as well, which is understood because Switch cartridges, they come into 2 different sizes, don't they?
Yeah.
You've got the smaller one, of course, and then you've got a much larger one. Well, a lot of bigger game companies at the moment are using the smaller cartridges and only putting certain files onto it, having you have to install the game when you actually put it in.
Yeah.
Which I would say is kind of annoying, especially we know a couple of people who don't really have the best places of the internet. Matt, for a good example of that, he basically lives in what is the UK version of the boonies. Hey, yeah. Oh god, I feel like I'm gonna regret that in September. The thing is, we know that certain people don't actually have the internet connection to really do that. And like I said with Matt, we've had moments where we've decided that we were going to be playing a game. We have to at least give him at least a week advantage notice that we're going to be playing this game so he can make sure that he's got it installed. Which, you're lucky if it takes him a day to get it installed most of the time. But like I said, there's other places that not here in the UK where they have Switch and they have PlayStation, and I think a lot of games nowadays are doing this, especially for the install rate of games now. I've got a feeling the discs do not hold all the files. I think this is the first time we're looking at it, and like you said, Spyro, the first game is on the disc. But, like I said, it's not the first game to do this. I think another good example of that was Rare Replay a couple of years ago. If you actually bought the disc, not all the games were actually on disc. You did actually have to download some of the games, which kind of it was a little bit weird for me because it was during the time where the backwards compatible games for the 360 came out. So I ended up having 2 copies of one game. And the only way that you could tell the difference between the games was one had like a little banner that said Rare Replay on it.
Yeah, I had it on Perfect Dark Zero, was it? I had.
Yeah, I had Viva
the
Pinata.
2 there. So the Spyro one is just going to be download codes, or is it going to be like Rare Replay where you just tell it to install and it installs it separately off the disc?
Really?
I just heard the news that it was just sort of like Spyro 2 and Spyro 3 were not going to be actually on the disc itself.
Right.
So
I've got a feeling that it's going to be.
If it's just like a day one install, then I don't think it's that much of a big deal because once you've installed it, you're not really going to notice the difference.
Yeah.
There we go. I've got the story here from. This is from Game Tyrant, by the way. So the physical edition of Spyro Reignited Trilogy require players to download the second and third games. It doesn't say here. It just says requires content download.
Alright, so what you're probably going to get is, like how you get a Crash Bandicoot menu where you select Crash 1, Crash 3. What it'll probably do is you'll get that menu, but then when you go to Spyro 2 or Spyro 3, it's going to ask you to prompt to download.
Yeah.
But once you've downloaded it, I guess it's not really going to, once you've downloaded it, really, so...
I'm trying to see if there's an actual reason why they're doing this, because, it says, here's a quote from Activision about it. It says, as with most games today, downloading an update after purchase is quite common. The language on packaging and on the web is to let players know the requirements for Spyro Reignited Trilogy. That's all they've said about it. So, like I said, it's annoying, but by the sounds of things, it's going to be that it's when you put the disc in, they'll install automatically.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'm hoping for is that when it does come out, so like I said, this is one thing that did bug me about the Rare Replay one is that it wasn't just Rare Replay as one thing. It was Rare Replay for most of them.
Yeah.
Oh, sad face.
I just saw a smiley face thing and I thought, I wonder what that does.
And then it's got a teary face, yeah.
Have we actually been given some new stuff? Wait, why am I messing with things? I remember last time I messed with things.
Actually come onto the podcast camera. That'd be pretty good if it those, because then I'll be spamming. Yeah.
I can't. The podcast camera's all the way over there now. You can actually just see it slightly on my camera over here, which you can't because I just realised the barrier's in the thingy's in the way. Yeah, you know what? You know what we're doing? We're gonna have that camera over here. We're gonna have 2 GDs. I think some might have some.
It'll like be a little voting thing for us.
Thumbs up, man. Thumbs up. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm hoping that my Rare Replay, they ended up giving us some of the games were separate, like I said, and it ended up clogging a lot of the game file. I would say I would prefer it just to be on one box game.
Yeah.
Like Crash Bandicoot did with the PlayStation, it was you just clicked Insane Trilogy and you went and all 3 were just there for you.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Spyro does the same thing, and it's just like a day one update, if anything, the game.
Yeah.
Where nowadays, it's like I said, it's something that, as a gamer, you are willing to accept is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see what people's reaction to it. I'm just interested to see how the game does, because it is definitely a game I'm looking forward to. Another game that I've not heard much about as well, which I'm looking forward to, Medieval as well, which I know is in the works.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, because they announced it last year on PlayStations, and it's been kind of radio silence since then. But then again, it's probably going to be one of those where we'll find out more information about it when it's closer to being released.
Yeah.
So it's when people start.
I mean, we don't want the same scenario with Spyro, didn't we? When Crash first came out, we was hearing about it, but we didn't see anything about it. So.
Well, the difference is this one has been confirmed by PlayStation that Medieval is being made. But like I said, nothing's really been talked about. Let's have a look at some of the stories while we're here. So, Detroit Become Human player base has topped 1.5 million worldwide now. Which is good. 1.5 million, and the game came out in May as well.
Yeah.
So it came out May 25th. It's been played by over 1.5 million people worldwide. On top of the figure, it's also revealed that over 20 million hours of gameplay were logged as well in this game. So I've still not played it myself, which I'm kind of disappointed because, like I said, I enjoyed Heavy Rain. Not so much about Beyond Two Souls. I think it was a bit too out there for me with that one. But Billy, yourself, have you played Detroit Beyond?
No, I've not really been, that much of a fan of David Cage games. Like I did try Heavy Rain, but I didn't really get that far into it. I'm not that sort of like a serious story, like where the entire thing is just basically story driven with quick time events.
Yeah.
If I do, play those kind of games, I'm normally, it was usually the Telltale ones because they're a bit more of a shorter, experience where, it's broken down into chapters, which I think I prefer as more of a streamline. But, I never really sort of like got, because it was really sort of out there with the controls when it,
it is basically just a glorified QuickTime event in the end. Sometimes, if you narrowed it down to what it was, it's a brilliant story, but the actual gameplay of it is you're doing a QuickTime event.
Yeah.
What about you, Tad? Did you manage to play any of it? I think the only thing I've played is the demo so far.
Yeah, I've only played a demo, I played at EGX last year.
Yeah.
Demo out there, and then
I
haven't really.
Queue and I didn't play it.
It's stupid, and like just being that invested in VR, it's like hard to get around to playing normal games.
Well, like I said, I probably will pick it up one day when it gets a little bit cheaper as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've liked all of it. I've liked all of his games. I love Fahrenheit. I loved Heavy Rain. I even love Beyond Two Souls. But it's just not got that much to do in VR. I don't get a chance to do much.
We Happy Few Season Pass has been detailed. There's going to be a free sandbox mode, which is in the works at the So, if people don't know, We Happy Few will be coming out of early access on Xbox. I think it's this week, isn't it?
It is. It's early this month, yeah. It might be this
I think
week.
it's the 14th. It comes. 14th. Let's see. Oh wait, I might say at the bottom. That might be a good idea. Yeah. So yeah, it comes out on August the 10th. So it comes out in about 5 days from filming here, out of early access and onto the PlayStation 4 as well. Of course, if you got early access, you get the full game when it's released. If people haven't, it's going to be about 50 quid for the game. But so far, what I've seen from at E3, it does look really interesting. Especially with the whole. I'm just hoping the story is good. But then again, like I said, I'm going to play it anyway because I've already technically got it. Yeah, so the details of We Happy Few Season Pass and the first DLC drop have been announced by Compulsion Games. The first one will be. The Season Pass will include 3 different stories set in Wellington Wells. The first one is called Roger and James Inn. They came from below. It will be a precocious Roger and impetuous James set off in search of adventure and love, only to uncover bizarre technology and a terrifying new threat. All is not as it seems, or is it exactly as it seems? The second one is called Lightbearer. Heartthrob artist and personal train wreck. Nick Lightbearer is Wellington Wells' most celebrated rock star. But what truly makes him tick? Tune in to Uncle Jack's Late Show to find out. And the final one is We All Fall Down. Much like any well-worn happy mask, all societies develop cracks in their veneer. But that doesn't mean you should go digging up dirt from the past. So, it's only available as part of the deluxe edition at the moment. It will be available for purchase separate upon launch. A release date for sandbox mode will be announced later as well. But it hasn't got a price at the moment how much this season pass is going to cost. But I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that they was doing a season pass, but like I said, if there's a story-driven side of it, it does, like I said, look very Bioshocky, if anything, from that game. What do you guys think about the whole We Happy Few? You looking forward to it coming out fully now?
Yeah, I remember it first being announced when it was, the Xbox at the time, and it had an interesting idea with it. To me, I saw like it reminded me a little bit of like you said, Bioshock, but it also sort of reminded me of Stanley Parable in a sense.
Yes, I love Stanley Parable when I game working.
Yeah, you're sort of like given choices, and you're not too what path you're really taking from those decisions that you make there.
I had a little go on there. Is it when it first went on preview because it was free, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For a bit.
Was it free? I don't think it was free. I ended up getting sent a code for it from.
Maybe I was because I've never paid for it, but it's the preview version's in my ready to install.
Yeah. I remember having, like I said, had to go with it when it first came out, and it did warn it was pre-alpha. And you could definitely tell it was pre-alpha. I struggled to actually try and find things to actually do at that point. So with me, I'm looking forward to jumping back in. I've actually had it installed. I've not actually uninstalled it since then. And like I said, it coming out fully on the 10th is definitely something I'm going to be jumping in. And I'm hoping this is quite successful because, like I said, after the hype from what I've had from No Man's Sky, and then moving on to this one as well, I'm looking forward to playing those games which I've had for quite a while now, and going back to them. Which is, it's something I'm definitely looking forward to there. I'm trying to see if there's. there is barely anything that's happening, isn't there? You guys got any stories you want to talk about while I'm searching? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Why I've got you here, Billy. Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everybody is going to be in the game.
Yep. Except for Snake's butt,
Except
which
for
has been
Snake's Pass.
reduced.
Why? Why did they do that?
And Waluigi's not here either, so we got that going.
And yeah, I do. Waluigi's there. He's a trophy. Oh.
It's just that everyone is here except for me. It don't matter.
Oh, Waluigi. Ridley beat you there.
It wasn't big enough.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. So we've learnt from Smash Bros in the past. Anybody could be in that game.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see join the Smash Bros roster in Ultimate?
I think like especially with Ultimate, and like it's quite amazing that we could start a 8-player Smash game and we'll have like so many non-Nintendo characters. You can have Cloud, Bayonetta, Pac-Man, Snake, so many different companies and stuff like that. And it just feels like one big like celebration to gaming in general at this point. And it really is like open for anything really. Like I can't like I'm imagining stuff from even from Sony and Microsoft themselves. Like especially the way things are going to crossplay and that. I feel like maybe maybe one day it could be like a sign where we start seeing it all start to join together into one. Like
like I said, when it comes to the crossplay thing, I think we've been talking about it. I think that at the moment I can easily tell that is going to be the thing that was probably talked the most about in gaming this year, has been the crossplay stuff. For the fact that it's actually made Sony look like the bad guys, which I'll be honest, is the first time they've done it this generation at the moment.
Yeah, I think this time they've normally been the better off, but with this one, it's it's a bit it's quite rare that Nintendo are the ones that not the last one of the last one to move forward from something there.
Yeah. Look, at the same time, like I said, I understand where Sony is coming from with this as well, where they're saying that they don't really need to join in. The thing is, they've been a success. No matter what happens now, something extremely, extremely bad has got to happen for Sony to not call this generation a success for them.
But there's always a next generation. That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Like Sony will never always be on top. That every single console has its day, really. I feel like Xbox 360, Xbox had its day last generation. I feel like that was a much bigger success than the PS3 was. And heck, even like Nintendo Wii was a massive, success for all the weird reasons.
Yeah, I think Nintendo, like we keep saying with the Nintendo Wii, it was successful because it basically ended up going into that market where no one else was actually looking into, and that's where they got their success. And I think they kind of blew up in their face when the Wii U came out, thinking, this is going to be success. No, your market is the same market where they'll look at a console and think, why do I want to move to this one?
Yeah, I feel like all 3, they've had an experience of something blowing up in their faces. Because I feel like the beginning of, with the PlayStation 3, they were quite boastful with their price of the PS3 when it first came out. And, that's the reason why so many people got an Xbox 360 instead. With Xbox, I think when the beginning of this generation, they got a bit...
movies. Why?
Yeah. You must have a Kinect. And then it's like 6 months later. You don't need a Kinect.
I still have my Kinect. It's there, actually.
I think one of the problems is like, and when it seems the last few things when on consoles won that generation, they seem to think they can do anything in the next one, and it always blows up in the face.
That's what I mean. So whenever I see them like the king of that generation, they always get a bit too cocky for themselves. And so that's why that's what I'm seeing right now. Is the start of Sony getting a bit too, big for the shoe. So there's always another generation. There's always another opportunity for Xbox and to sweep in the competition.
This is the one thing I don't understand. So, especially between Sony and Nintendo here, these are two This is two industries that have been in the gaming industry for decades. Well, they've been in it longer than we've been alive, both of them now. I don't understand why they have not learned anything from the things. Like you said, it was like PlayStation 2 was the best selling console by far.
Yeah.
And then the PS3 happened. I'm thinking, oh look, the good thing about the PS3 was it was a brilliant Blu-ray player for what price it was as well, and it did give you extra things as well. I think what really affected them the most was that so many problems happened to that console. And I think the thing that really blew up in the face was when the online was down for 2 weeks. And they didn't explain to us why it was down. And the only reason they ended up having to explain to us was because it was down for such a long time. And like I said, with Xbox, which I'm going to be honest, they have recovered quite well so far. And I think it's mainly because of the Games Pass has been such a success for them with this, especially compared to the PlayStation Now, which has been very lackluster. I like it, but it's nowhere near as good as the Game Pass.
I go for the trial, and then as soon as I think I flicked onto Red Dead Redemption because I was, I'm excited for the second one, and I ain't played Red Dead Redemption 1 for so long since I used to play on the Xbox 360. Yeah. So I flipped it on, and because it's a streaming service. It was just so laggy, and nothing was going on. But I could just, I know it's an older game, but I'm playing this on a newer system. So why do I feel like it's performing worse than when it was on the Xbox 360?
I still think there'd be a really smart move by Microsoft to turn around and say, you buy a year of Xbox Pass at the same time you buy a year of Xbox Live, you get your Xbox Live half price.
Yeah.
And it'll get people logged into Pass for a year and also keep it alive.
Well, there's rumours at the moment, I think it was last week or the week before, the next two consoles, which, by the way, Xbox, PlayStation, they're going to be making new consoles. They're going to be making it next gen. The rumours are that Microsoft are planning to bring out two consoles. One of them, of course, being a full-price one, which, of course, uses the disc and stuff like that. The other one is a streaming box, which is people are saying probably will be half the price, but it'll only run Game Pass. So, what do you guys think of that idea? Do you think the rumors might be true, or do you think it's just the usual? We're getting close to the end of this generation. Let's talk about what games are going to be coming, what the consoles may happen.
It makes sense. I feel like that's where console gaming is going to look towards. There's digital downloading and streaming is starting.
Subscription, more of a service than an actual. Yeah.
Than an actual physical game. Games. I feel like that. It's slowly transitioning to that. So eventually, we are just going to get a console where it's just going to be a button on there in your controller, and you're just going to go onto it like Netflix, and it's going to be more like an Amazon Fire Stick or anything. Or, I can imagine what Sony would do is that their console will eventually just be incorporated with their TVs.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I think some of them are already doing that at the moment with PlayStation Now.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So I can imagine that just being the future for Sony, really. The PlayStation TV. I can imagine that being.
And Nintendo will just bring out another console.
Nintendo, and they'll also have frisbee controller next. Okay.
Guys, we've learned about this thing called online.
Nintendo Donut.
But just to make it work, we've got to charge you. I know this is a new revelation thing, but please hear us out. What do you mean Xbox and PlayStation are already doing this?
And then there'll be a game where you just ring it around like the controller is actually a donut, and you just got to like there's like loads of little gimmicks. You get to play a game like that. You get to play a game like that. You get to play a game like that.
Yeah. And you still got to eat it before it runs out, and it's about £30 for the.
What you got to do is you got to put it around your neck, and then you got to put the amiibo on your head. And then
that's how you played the new Legend of Zelda.
Da 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 da.
What for the chest? But yeah, like I said, I do see things going down the street. Quite obvious. A lot less work for the. By the same time, it will go down that route. One thing I'm scared of having.
That's what I mean. It's like
we already do. Like for example, with my Xbox, I've got Crunchyroll, I've got the Xbox itself, I've got Games Pass, which is a separate subscription, and of course I've got EA Access. But I'm scared that especially the big publishers, will go down this route. I know that Uplay already exists. I don't think do they have a subscription service yet?
No, that's what I mean. I think if Microsoft releases one where it's all streaming and only linked to Games Pass, you're going to get the likes of Ubisoft, the Wii U player saying, "Well, we need to charge you to play our games now through the streaming box."
And then there'll still be about $7.99, which I wouldn't want to do that. The thing is, I understand I do it with Games Pass, but the difference with Games Pass is that it's already got this huge library behind them. It is pretty much Games Pass is the Netflix of gaming. It's simple enough. Some games come in, some games go out. That is how Netflix works with their TV and movie. This is how the Xbox works with Games Pass. And the good thing is because it's also bringing in its original content as well. Like, for example, Sea of Thieves have come in, State of Decay 2 is, Forza Horizon 4 is coming in September, I think it is, isn't it? And then, of course, Crackdown will be coming in 2021.
We're coming in next December.
But that's the thing. You can easily see Games Pass working, and the thing is, they worked because they have actually made it designed around something that has been such a success. And at the same time, they didn't do it as a risk. When the Games Pass first came out, I was a little bit skeptical about it, especially after coming from what PlayStation did with PlayStation Now. The only difference is, PlayStation Now, you've got to stream the game. Xbox, you don't. You just download the game. You've got the game there. You can go and do what the hell you want with it. You're technically there as long as it's still part of the Games Pass, and as long as you're part of the game. And if you do want to choose to play the game, buy the game afterwards, we'll give you 20% off. Same with its DLC. That's why I think that one will work. But like I said, with EA Access, and if Ubisoft decide to do it, and Activision, I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. We'll do it as well. And it's just going to keep building up and up and up. And I feel like if they do go down a subscription console, going to be honest, I don't think it will work. I really don't. I think it'll work. No, actually, I don't think it will work at all. I think the only reason it's sort of working now is because we've got best of both.
Well, and no, I wouldn't say like if the next generation of it will be like a subscription service. I reckon that it should still have like a store where the latest games come out, and you're able to buy those individually, and once you bought them, you've got the license for those.
Be a digital focused box, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised that this generation hasn't already done that.
It's integrating into it. I think that's just I think if they did it straight away now, I think there'd be a lot of backlash because I think still quite a few people that prefer to buy physical copies. There's people that like to sort of fill their shelves up with games. And
the thing is, it's not just people who prefer to buy it as well. I think it's places that they can't really afford. Like we was on about with downloading. There's places that can't do it at the moment.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the high-speed internet is not as widespread as we would expect it to be around about this time. And there's so many places. The thing is, This is with the gaming community at the moment. They are mainly focusing on places like Far East Asia, here in the UK, and in America. America, the internet's not brilliant around the whole place. The thing is, we already know that. We hear so many horror stories of what the internet is like out there. Here in the UK, we haven't got high-speed internet spread around the whole UK, which is weird for being such a small country. The only place that would actually benefit from this at the moment is, I think, only one country in the top of my mind, South Korea, will benefit from this, and they don't give a damn about consoles. They're PC players. The thing is, they buy consoles, but they are PC focused. And then another place that is close second to it is Japan. They're handheld. They've been handheld now for. This is why the Switch has been such a success out there. It's because of the handheld capabilities from it, and why Xbox has definitely not been a success, and PlayStation is now struggling as well.
What they do in Japan is that they actually sell the Switch without the dock. So like a Switch at a cheaper price, but without the actual dock, and it's just got the charging cable, and that's it. So it just goes to show how they don't even care to sort of like dock it on their TV at home. They just want a portable.
Well, another good example, especially with Japan, the PS Vita is still such a success out there.
Yeah, that's how you still get some games that come out every now and then.
Yeah, the thing is, because I do look at some of the Japanese games that are coming out, especially with being the PlayStation, that's been the main import at the moment.
Well, I'm just sort of like, I wish I could play Persona 4. That's sort of like the.
I wish I could play Dead or Alive Extreme 3.
Well, a lot of people be, isn't that? It's just become the Persona portable device.
Yeah. But like I said, the places that have got the high-speed internet at the moment don't really care about consoles. I don't really see it being such.
Yeah.
So maybe later down the line when it's more high speed, but then again, the demand is going to be higher then as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next gen, especially when we can tell we are coming to the end, especially the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One's lifespan now. I think that's all we're going to be talking about. We are getting quite long into the podcast again, aren't we? I know because my light has now turned on. Before we go, games you guys are looking forward to coming out this month. I'm going to start with you, Tattastic. What game are you looking forward to coming out in August?
I've already covered one with that I've already played Electronaut anyway, but there's one that's coming out from Sony called Firewall Zero, which is getting slated as Rainbow Six in VR. Okay. So I'll be interested to have a look at that one. That's at the very end of the month, 29th or 28th.
So is this a PlayStation exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, PlayStation VR, yeah. Sony. It's a Sony game.
What about you, Billy? What game are you looking forward to coming out this beautiful month of August?
I think I'm looking forward to the Walking Dead new season.
Oh, yeah, the final season, episode 1 comes out this month.
I think I've been playing. It's been such a long time in it since we first started, and I think it did capture a lot of people. It is the Telltale game. So, and to see that close, I don't think I can miss that.
Yeah, I think I added that into my top 5, and I think the research I did on it, I think the first game of the Walking Dead series came out was 2012. So we're looking, about 6 years now of this series, and you easily can say that The Walking Dead is the game that put Telltale on the map with these episodic games. I know there was games beforehand, like for example, Kev didn't know that there was a Jurassic Park game by Telltale that came out as well.
Yeah, it came out before it, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it did. It was during the time with Back to the Future. I think the first games they did that was episodic properly was the Sam and Max trilogy of games they did.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I remember them, and I remember they had Wallace and Gromit ones, and I don't think really captured any attention with those sort of ones. But it was the Walking Dead game that put Telltale on the map.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how this. The thing is, I don't know if it's the end of the Walking Dead or it's just the end of Clementine's story. But this is the thing. What would you rather do? Would you want the Walking Dead series to just stop after this, or do you think it should continue after Clementine?
It will probably continue after Clementine's story ends with like a new set of characters or something like that. But I don't think it'll ever get the sort of impact after this. I feel like that the Telltale's Walking Dead has been effectively Clementine's story, and I think without her, I mean, like, obviously I don't know because the game's not out, but I reckon she's not going to make it to the end of this game.
Just knowing from Walking Dead, yeah.
It's final game, so so I think after this, I don't think following whatever characters are still alive after this one, I don't think they're going to make much of an impact anymore. Like, we followed this character for so long now. I don't think any character has any meaning at this point anymore. Yeah. All the other ones have been killed off, obviously Lee in the first one and Kenny and what was it, like 8-year-old game?
Shush. Yeah, about that. It's something about 6-7 years old now. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this one goes. I've ended up playing all of them but the Michonne story at the moment with the Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah, I think I couldn't really I tried Michonne's story for a little bit, but because I don't follow the TV series at all.
Yeah, you can't get into it. Yeah.
Only watched one season of it, so I don't really care for the TV characters or the comic characters. It is just primarily the Walking Dead story that I'm interested in.
Right, for me, game that I'm looking forward to this month. Actually, it's the one that's coming out on Tuesday. So one thing I love about being part of CTG is when we're playing those wacky party games, so like Bomberman and stuff like that. There was one series of games which came out, I think it was 2 years ago, which I looked at it and thought, you know what, this game would be a brilliant game for us to play as a group. Turned out it was only local co-op.
No.
Yeah. Well, the second of this game is coming out on the 7th of August, known as Overcooked 2, which is going to be bringing the usual 4-player local co-op and bringing us back into the kitchen, but also it will be bringing us online 4-player co-op as well. So, I've been wanting to play that, especially with you guys. The thing is, I think, just wondering how crazy we can go with this game. And this is definitely a game that I've wanted to play. Since it was announced at E3, it's definitely something I've been keeping an eye on. Oh, and another game I just want to mention as well, which is supposed to be coming out at the end of this month. 2 Point Hospital is going to be coming out as well. Which, if people don't know what this is, it is basically the spiritual successor to Theme Hospital. A game I remember so fondly when I was growing up, especially on the PS1. Did a little bit of research on that one as well. 1997 was when Theme Hospital came out.
Yeah, I'm sad that on PC, and I'm sure it was Windows 95. It would have been, because it wasn't until Windows 98, was it?
Yeah.
After.
Yeah, it's being made by most of the original Bullfrog studio productions. They basically made a new studio called 2 Point Productions. So I expect it to be pretty much like the original Theme Hospital, but of course been updated. That game is only available on PC when it comes out on the 30th. No idea if it's going to be coming out on consoles as well. Which we know it will work on consoles. Like I said, the original Theme Hospital was on the PlayStation 1 as well. But yeah, there's definitely a game that I'm looking forward to coming out at the end of the month.
They had a section for that down at Res, but it wasn't playable. It was just like a demo playing on a TV.
I'd say we'd probably be able to go and play, but like I said, it's coming out at the end of this month, so we'll probably have already played it.
Yeah.
This is the thing. The thing is, if people don't know, me and Tattastic are going to EGX in September. There's quite a lot of us actually going to EGX this year. And we're looking at the games thinking, oh, I'm looking forward. That might be... Wait, no, that game comes out before EGX. That's what I've been like, especially today, looking at the games list. There's like another game which is coming out, which we'll be talking about next month anyway. Spider-Man comes out on the PlayStation 4. Insomniac Spider-Man on the, what was it, the 13th, 14th of September? Mid-September, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that game. I really am. The thing is, I like Insomniac. They do quite well when it comes to these kind of games, and I'm looking for this one in particular. But yeah, we'll talk about that more next month. Anyway, like as always, before we go, let's see what we are going to be doing. So, Tattastic, what is your plans coming up for this next month? Anything you can share with us that you know of?
Just a lot of reviews.
Just a lot
My
of
list
reviews.
just keeps going, yeah. I've got to have to obviously review Hellblade.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a review online tonight of Detached, hopefully.
Need to start looking and thinking of slowing down the things. You got to do a cut-off point, especially with EGX just around the corner, mate.
And I haven't emailed out for anything this month yet.
I've emailed out for a couple of things, but it's more games that I definitely do want to involve. Like I said, I've asked for 2 Point Hospital. But yeah, I've been trying to keep quiet, but I'm still getting sent. Hey, have a look at this. Sure. Thanks. I'll do it as my one shot, which comes out weekly. But yeah, so of course, like I said, for VR reviews, you can find Tattastic at the usual places. He is on TattasticGamer. Find him at youtube.com/TattasticGamer.
VR. There's a VR at the
There's
end
a
now.
VR at the end of it now, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Same with Twitter. Why am I saying this? Tattastic, you tell me what they are, because it's so much easier than me trying to remember.
YouTube's Tattastic Gamer VR. Twitter's still Tattastic Gamer because it's like one character too short on their character allowance.
Oh.
So it has to be Tattastic Gamer V. Something like that. Well, sorry. V.
And of course, you're on Mixer as well. Sad face.
I don't really stream now though, so my mixer's dead basically. I'm focusing on YouTube, so I do reviews and things.
Oh,
Oh,
gasp! I am loving these new things. Oh, yeah, I'll be definitely using that next month with the what's it called? I don't do it on the goddamn iPad. Realised. But yeah, of course, go to those places. VR News every time. Perfect place to go for it. Hi, Billy.
Yeah, I don't think you expect me to see you doing any streaming or YouTube or stuff like that. I've got off the grid when it comes to that stuff, but yep, you probably see me in the past still. So
he will be slowly brought back into the grave. Your game folds.
I poke my head out, once a month, and then I'm gone again.
It's not. Look, it's nice that you do that, mate. As long as we know that you're still alright.
Alive.
You're alive, yeah. That's the perfect point of it. Like I said, hopefully the next time you pop your head up will be probably not next month, but during Nights of Horror. We'll try and grab.
Get net. Just grab me.
Just don't use the K games, and then we'll be all right, mate. I'm not saying its name because last time we used the actual word, everything crashed.
Okami.
Fuck you.
I didn't say the word, I just said Okami.
I play a Silent Hill game as long as it doesn't have an S at the end of it, then I'm fine.
No, even if you play a Silent Hill game, it gets bugged like God knows.
Oh, yeah.
God damn, those guys have no rest. I remember because we ended up doing Silent Hill 2. We did an actual series of it.
It was annoying because, all of my, because I'm mostly, been a Nintendo guy, and, I'll get, obviously the pain in the ass of getting that flagged up all the time. And then I thought, sorry, I play Silent Hill 2, it's not a Nintendo game. And it's still got flagged up. It's like, God damn it, can I?
Well, yeah. Of course, Billy, he will show up hopefully more often now we've got hold of him again. In his shiny ways. For me, though, of course, I've got the one-shot stuff that is coming out usually weekly. Of course, there's not one this week because of the podcast. At the middle of this month, we have the other podcast that we the CTG Wrestle podcast, me and Hanksy. We are doing SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. I am looking forward to this because we're getting the same goddamn match again. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Awesome. Of course, we've got other videos that we are bringing out at the moment. We have, with me and Ryan, we're doing No Conviction. We're doing some more Jackbox games further down the line as well, because out of footage. And after doing a lot of fibbage enough about you, that game is really interesting, guys. I recommend, if you get a chance, watch today's video that came out. We learned so much about Ryan. Oh, so much. And they're looking at Pot Noodle the same way again. Just saying. Of course, you can find us at youtube.com/CraveYourGames, at twitch.tv/GDW2007, mixer.com/CraveYourGame, at Twitter with @CraveYourGame, and of course, cravethegame.proboards.com. Join us there. Very friendly gaming community, of course. And I think that is pretty much it for this month. Thank you, Billy, for joining us for this August podcast. I know it's been very warm today for both of you and me, of course. And Tat, thank you as well for joining us. The thing is, mate, if you bring the VR news, I love the VR news. It's the only time that I remember that things are happening, which is nice. And same with Billy with Nintendo. Actually, you know what? I bet you're in a happy place because Nintendo is actually good again.
I know. I've done my time with Wii U, like, and I can finally like. I have good news.
Good news.
I have
People
news.
like the Switch.
There are games.
They're bringing out another Pokemon game. Okay, wait, it's not Pokemon Go. Technically it is.
It's like the transition into Pokemon, but not Pokemon.
It's coming out on the Switch, be happy. Well, of course, thank you again, and of course to you, Foxy, as well. You've been smiling and keeping an eye on Spare Cam, and like we said, we do love that. Thanks. But of course, until next time, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please like, comment, and subscribe to us here. And until next time, thank you, and goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye, don't just wave.
Goodbye, audio people.
Goodbye, audio people.